Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Jira awareness session conducted by COPD. My name is Sangeeta, guys. Okay, so I have muted all of you. So the best way to take ahead with this session is that we can mute ourselves, and if you have any questions, we can definitely unmute and ask. Okay, fine. So please listen to the session and make sure you understand the flow. And if you have any doubts, you can ask me, guys. Okay. So my name is Sangeeta, as I mentioned. So let's start the session. Just a second. Yeah. So guys, I'm sharing my screen. Okay. So guys, how many of you are aware of what do you mean by Agile? How many are aware of what is Agile? And if anyone is unaware, let me know. Guys, you're unable to hear my voice?
Yes, ma'am.
I can hear you.
You're able to hear, right?
Yeah.
Agile is methodology, ma'am.
Okay.
It's an adaptation to change.
Okay. So guys, basically in very simple terminology, I would say Agile is nothing but one of the SDLC methodology. Very simple. You agree? Right? So under Agile, okay, under Agile, we do have certain frameworks. Please understand. Now, what do you mean by a framework? Please remember a set of procedures, okay, a set of procedures with which you conduct one project, and eventually all of it would aim or result to a completion of a project or a project. So what is a framework? It's a set of procedures you would use in order to complete a project or a product. So Agile has certain frameworks under it. Okay, so what are those frameworks? Can anyone tell me?
Scrum,
Kanban,
safe.
and XP. That is also called as extreme programming. Okay, so the most popular framework under Agile is Scrum. Okay, so Scrum plays a very important role in the market right today, guys, and most of the companies currently are adapting Agile and eventually the Scrum framework. So it's very important session that we are conducting today. So I want all of you to pay attention. Okay, and please make sure you understand what we are doing here. Now, in order to understand the tool, the Jira tool, we need to first understand certain terminologies that are associated with Agile. Okay, so guys, before we get into the Scrum, we have something called as Agile Manifesto. It is a little disconnected with our Jira tool, but I'll just give you a highlight here. Agile Manifesto is nothing but a document that does talk about the values and principles of Agile. So what is the difference here? Please understand, when you're talking about the Agile methodology, whatever drawbacks are there in the waterfall and other methodologies are covered and closed in Agile. Okay, so Agile is, as it says, it's very agile in nature. It does accept a lot of change requests, and there is a lot of communication that happens in Agile projects. Okay, you can take Scrum, Kanban, anything. If we're talking about an Agile project, there would be a lot of change requests happening here. There would be small iterations, I would say, or probably small releases of your project, and also a lot of communication that would happen among the team members. Okay, so that does not happen in waterfall and other methodologies, which is why Agile has come into existence, guys. Okay, so now let's concentrate on Scrum. Now, talking about Scrum, guys, please understand, as I told you, Scrum is a framework which is intended to complete a product or a project in a defined time period. Okay, so technically you would use a set of procedures here, as we all know that. I'm sure you have learned that in a workshop, that we would use set of frameworks or procedures, I'm sorry, to complete one product. Okay, so to understand Scrum, the first point or the first term that you'll have to learn is called as a project. Now, what do you mean by a project, guys? Can anyone tell me? What do you mean by
Non-repetitive. Non-repetitive.
sorry, sir?
Goal.
Okay. Goal.
A project set of process which is used to achieve your goal.
Project is nothing but a software deliverable or development that an organization wants to achieve at the end of the time period. You agree? Right? A software development wherein you are trying to look at a product or a project. Please understand, in Agile or in Scrum, product or project would be similar. Okay, but for now we'll use the project. So what's the difference? A product can be a physical product that you're dealing with. Like, for example, let's assume a phone can be a product. Okay, a project could be a web application. Clear so far? So first and foremost in Scrum, we will first identify what is the project or the product, and that is given to us by the client. Next, once you understand what is the product, so what happens is, once you know the product and the project, in Scrum, we would break this project into smaller chunks of work. Can anyone tell me why?
Faster delivery.
There are too many tasks in project.
For the ease of work.
Designing.
Flexibility.
Flexibility. But why? Even in waterfall also we have tasks and activities and everything, right? Then why do we have to break it? And if you ask me, we also break it into chunks in waterfall also. So what is the difference here then?
We can get a MVP as early as possible.
MVP.
Delegations becomes easier.
Minimum viable product.
For accuracy.
True, guys. I would
Parallel
agree
work.
to all of your answers, which is very true. The reason why we break, yeah.
We can change
So
as per the
basically,
customer requirement.
Developing
that also does in
program.
waterfall also, ma'am. We do the same thing in waterfall also.
We can do the testing.
That is done in waterfall also.
Madam, in phases.
Simultaneous process.
Yes, correct. In simultaneous process phases, all the phases will be handled simultaneously.
Very nice. One of the very good answers. Yes. So guys, basically, what happens?
Ma'am, also one more thing. Ma'am, hello.
Yeah.
Ma'am, in this case, as the project duration is a bit longer than waterfall, so it's very important to break down these. I think that's the reasons.
Not exactly. It's not about the duration. It's all about the complexity. See, what happens is in waterfall, when the project is given to you, the client is kind of unaware of what is happening in the project. So even the failure or the success, the client has to wait till a very decent amount of time, like 6 months or 8 months. The whole effort is wasted of the whole team, right? But in Scrum, what happens is you don't have to do that. You will get regular updates or regular software features to the client can understand where is the project going and how is the project going. As someone says, flexibility, and if the project is complex and if the project is too technical in nature, so we can definitely opt for Scrum. So as I've just clear, guys, so far, any questions? So whenever you have a lot of change requests or a lot of change in the scope, and when the project is too complicated in nature, the Scrum would be the right answer for such kind of projects. Okay, so now let's get into the process. So once the project or the product is identified by the team or the client comes and gives us the project, so what do? We will first try to break this project into smaller chunks of work. And please understand, this smaller chunks of work is called as a feature or an epic. Okay, so what is an epic? Epic is a smaller chunk of work okay, which does have a lot of small other features inside it. Like for example, let's take makemytrip.com. Okay, we'll take makemytrip.com. Under makemytrip.com, you have multiple features. You agree? Flights, trains. You agree, guys? Hotels, bus,
Yes.
right? So what are all these called as features? You agree? Registration, login, probably your discounts. These are all called as features. So for our understanding, if I work on these features, you all agree that Make My Trip is completed, yes?
Yes.
Right? Now, when I'm talking about a flight, is flight only one small feature? I just create a flight and is it over? The answer is no. There are multiple other activities that you need to do underneath this feature. You agree? Right? So please understand this chunk of work, right, is called as a feature or an epic. Any questions, guys?
No, ma'am.
Right? Clear so far? Now, guys, once you have identified the epics, now please understand, first and very important mindset, guys. Whenever you're working in an agile environment, please understand you as a team member must also be very flexible in nature. Unlike waterfall, where you have rigid roles and rigid responsibilities and rigid phases of a project, in agile it will not happen. Please remember, when you go and work in a real-time organization, not every project might have an epic. Okay, not every project might have an epic. They can also call this as a user story as well. So epic is nothing but a chunk of work. Underneath you have smaller activities or tasks. Now, once you understand what is an epic, a very important point you need to remember is called as a user story. Can anybody tell me what is a user story? Anyone, guys?
Hello, yeah, ma'am. Ma'am, a user story can be defined as like if a person XYZ name, he or she wants some feature, so that that person will get benefit from that particular feature.
Okay, can you please repeat your answer? Not a problem.
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah. What I was saying that like I myself, being a person called XYZ, I want to have this feature in this particular app, so that I can get some kind of benefits in future through that feature.
Okay.
Action performed by a particular user.
No. So basically,
User story is used to describe the work, maybe in non-technical language, and which will help us to understand as is, to be, and the future part of it.
Okay, to make it,
Ma'am,
to
it's
make
a
it
informal natural language or description of features of a software system.
Feature is an epic.
Okay.
Okay, a user story is nothing but a small task or an activity that will come. Guys, can you please mute yourself?
Your voice is an echo. Echo is created.
I think that's what I'm saying. Someone should mute. Yes, thank you. So guys, basically, a user story is nothing but a task or an activity under the epic. I'll give you a very simple example. Let's assume I'm talking about flights. Okay, you all agree flight is an epic, right? Under that, to location, from location. Okay, probably the type of class, that economies, that class, probably the calendar feature. So guys, what am I doing? Under flights, I'm subdividing the complete epic into smaller pieces, and these are called as user stories. So once I understand how to do this to location and from location, this flight epic is completed. You agree? Right? So the best part about Scrum is what I do is I break the epic into smaller segments or small tasks, and those tasks are called as user stories. Clear? Now, how in Scrum, what happens is there is one specific way of writing a user story, guys. You just can't write it as we want. Okay. So first and foremost, a user story must have a value statement. It is also called as a syntax. As a user, I want to so that I can. Okay. Then you have a BV value, business value. Then you have complexity points. You have acceptance criteria. Guys, I'm not going to explain all this because I'm sure you have learned this in a workshop. And if you want, we can discuss about this at the last. Please note down your questions. We can talk about this later. Okay. So guys, a user story must have the value statement, the business value, the complexity point, which is also called as a story point, acceptance criteria. And if you have anything else, we can also add it there, guys, like tasks, priorities, that all depends on the company. Okay, so a user story would have to be written like this. Now, who writes a user story? Very important, guys. Please understand.
BA.
Not necessarily only BA. Okay, so here, please remember in Scrum,
The product managers also write.
That's what I'm saying. So please understand, when you're talking about a Scrum team, who comprises of a Scrum team?
Developer, Scrum Master,
Scrum
and
Master, developers.
Scrum Master, your developer. You agree?
Tester.
Right? So these are your, because a Scrum team is generally around 8 to 10 people only. Okay, that again depends, guys. Let's assume, every project must have this for sure. Apart from this, let's assume you need testers. Okay, you need any architects, you can add them. But a core Scrum team would be your product owner, Scrum Master, and developers for sure. Okay, guys. Now, who writes a user story? Trust me, everybody here can write a user story. Now, what is the role of a BA here? Guys, please understand, as a business analyst, what would you do in a Scrum team is you will assist the product owner, because product owner is nothing but a client person who understands the requirements in detail. You will help him. You will write all the functional or the requirement oriented user stories with the help of a product owner. Okay, a business analyst would also make sure you gather the requirements like the way we do it in the waterfall. So such kind of, and you also make sure you assist the Scrum Master also while taking care of the project and so on and so forth. So guys, please understand, a user stories can be written by anybody, but the whole Scrum team would be involved here. Okay, clear so far? Next, the next terminology I would want to explain here is called as a product backlog. Now, please understand, what do you mean by a product backlog? Guys, simple term, if I have to explain you, a product backlog is a list of user stories. Okay, now, one simple question I would want to ask you, in a product backlog, are the user stories prioritized or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
The answer is yes.
Yes.
Yes, the answer is yes. Guys, when the product backlog has been created, blindly, everybody, all the team members will put the user stories here. I'll give you a very non-technical example here. Guys, you want to go to a grocery store. Okay. So you when you want to go to a grocery store for a month, what do? You talk about the kitchen items. You talk about your toiletries. Okay. And you also talk about your living room stuff, right? What do? You first prioritize, I need this item, this item, this item, this item. Agree? Again, in toiletries, you talk about soap, you talk about cleaning powders and stuff like that. Okay. Now, next, you want to, let's assume you want, the festival is around the corner, you would want to buy some lights, you would want to buy some candles, you want to buy some decorative pieces to decorate your house and stuff like that. Now, what do? What is this list called as?
Product backlog.
Very good. This is called as a product backlog. Guys, are we clear? What is this kitchen item called as?
Product backlog.
Yeah.
Sure.
Think. What is this kitchen items called as?
User story.
No.
Epic.
Epic. Very good. Because under Epic we have this A, B, C, D are user stories. You agree?
Yeah.
Right, guys? Now, so what did I do when I want to go to a grocery store? I have listed down everything I need. So now I have a limited budget because everybody has a budget, right? Now, when you have a limited budget, what do? You start prioritizing the requirements or the items. First and foremost, I would buy stuff for my kitchen because I need food. I will definitely buy these. I have money left. Then I'll buy soap and stuff like that. And I still have money. Then I will buy things for. You agree, guys? So what are you doing? You're prioritizing. So when you create a product backlog, initially you don't prioritize. Later on, there is a meeting that is called as product refinement meeting or a product backlog meeting, where you discuss and prioritize the requirements. Are we clear so far, guys? Any questions, any doubts till now? Yes.
The features and what we call it as user story are the same or the different?
Feature is a bigger chunk. Like for example, see, that's what I'm telling you, right? Even a user story is also a feature, but in Scrum perspective, feature is a big work. That is what I'm telling you. Like for example, I have taken this makemytrip.com website, right? Here, flight is one feature, or for example, login is one feature. Okay, so under login, if I have only customer login as a feature, okay, I can call it as a user story because I just have to create a customer login. My job is done. You agree, ma'am?
Yes, yes.
Right, but in reality, that does not happen, right? When you're talking about login, there is a customer login, there is a probably advertiser login, the ticket person login, multiple people will log in, right? So when I have multiple sub features or sub categories under that, then my login would be a feature and the customer login would be user stories.
User story.
That all depends on the feature they're talking about. So feature and user story are very similar, provided if you have under the feature, if you have small pieces, then it's a feature, or else it's a user story.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, Shazia, yes.
So just for in case
So
of
just a
broccoli,
second, sir. Shazia, one girl raised her hand. I just want to answer the question, then I'll get back to you.
Yes. Is there any similarity, like, or we call feature?
A little louder, I can't hear your voice.
Can feature also considered to be similar?
Feature also considered to be a?
Are epic and feature also considered to be similar?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Yes, sir.
so just for example, a user story in case of grocery shop, it's like as a customer, I want to buy an item so that I can use it in my home.
Yes.
That will be a user story. Correct?
That is value statement syntax. Yes. For everything, you'll have syntax.
Okay, and it will user story will be a single function.
Single task. Yes.
Single task.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, ma'am. Why backlog word is used here?
Backlog is nothing but a technical word, ma'am. Basically, it is nothing but list of user stories. It is just a technical word that is introduced by the heads of the Scrum.
Yes.
That's it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, madam, 1 second. Madam, 1 second. Lakshman here. I just want to see that if in this example, if you look at that, that's grocery stores comes to the to directly Epic or like
grocery store is a project, sir. That is your end goal, no?
Project. Okay. And the kitchen item and toilet, living room, this comes to the Epic.
Yes.
And in the products comes to the product backlog and user stories.
Yes, these are user stories. So basically, once you identify the project, the first thing what the team does is they break down the complete project into smaller chunks. That is first, and they will will they save the chunks of work? They will put everything in a product backlog. Okay, once the product backlog is been, I would never say the product backlog is completed because every change request, everything will go to product backlog only. Okay, so again in the product backlog, you will prioritize the requirements as as the client requirements are, as depending on the team and everything. Clear? Now,
Okay.
once you have the product
is-
backlogs, yeah.
Yeah, this will be again active diagram also.
I'm sorry, sir.
It includes an activity diagram also, right? in this?
No, not here.
Okay.
Activity diagram is only a process diagram. We are not
separately.
including any system here.
We were-
We are doing only the high level work.
Okay.
Okay, guys. Now, once you have done a product backlog, once everything is done, in the meetings, you will discuss who will do which user story, who will write which user stories and stuff like that. And once the user stories have written, they will put them back in the product backlog. Okay. Once the user stories are sitting in the product backlog, then what do? We introduce something called as sprints now. Okay. What is a sprint? Sprint is nothing but a time-boxed event. Okay, what's a time boxed event? Under sprints, you have user stories which you intend to complete in a one given point of time. A sprint can be as it can be different time periods, guys. 2-week sprint is common. 4-week sprints are common. There are scenarios where you have 1-day sprints also. Okay, so generally, as per the industry standard, 2 to 4 weeks is a very standardized sprint time. Okay, so the sprints would have user stories. Now, again, how many user stories must go in a sprint? How many team members should work in that sprint is all decided in a sprint planning meeting. So you have sprint planning meetings where you will decide how many of people will work where and how many user stories, how the time, everything will be decided there. So the sprints will begin, guys. Clear so far?
Ma'am, yeah.
Yes.
Yes. So this is the
Ma'am,
basic.
can you repeat sprints? Can you repeat sprints?
Sure. Sprint is nothing but a time boxed event, sir. So what do you mean by time boxed event is like, let's assume I have, I will just go back to this one. I have this makemytrip.com. Okay. So what I want to work on this flights feature. So what do? I have categorized all of these user stories will come under this feature only. Okay, so now what will I do? I will combine all of these user stories and I will say that according to our understanding in the planning meeting, the developer said, ma'am, it will take around 4 weeks to complete all of these user stories. So the sprint here is 4 weeks because in that sprint, I will work on this epic and eventually on these 4 user stories. That is called as a sprint.
Like a time.
I'm sorry?
It's like that turnaround time.
Not turnaround time. No, not turnaround time. Here you are giving a time. We are just giving a time period, right, to complete. Turnaround time is again coming back. You will never come back to the sprint again. You will go further only. Okay, you will not come back.
Ma'am, in simple words, it like a sprint meeting is conducted when the task to be assigned.
Okay, I'll just give you a very basic understanding about what happens, the whole background. I'll try to pull you in a very simple way. Then we'll get into Jira quickly. First, number one, as I mentioned earlier, a project or a product is identified. You agree?
Yes, ma'am.
Right?
Yes, ma'am.
First, a project or product is identified, and this is done by the high level because the client will come and all that, don't care. That is high level. Once the product or the project is identified, they'll sit and decide, okay, let's do this in Agile. Now, they will identify Scrum. Now, what happens once the product and project is identified? Then first and foremost, you will have a product vision meeting where you will sit and discuss what is the value of the product, what is the goal of the product, and so on and so forth. Once the product vision meeting is over, then in that meeting, they'll also divide the complete project into features. Okay, now what are the features? They will all, with the help of a product owner, with the help of everybody, they will sit and break down it into features. Once the features are identified, then the Scrum team will discuss and understand how do we break down the features? How do we break down the features? Okay, once they broke down all the features, guys, then what they will do, they will first start writing or creating a product backlog. They will create a product backlog. Okay, so now I will put all these features inside the product backlog, and we have a product backlog refinement meeting. Okay, so in that product backlog refinement meeting, the whole team will sit and create that. It's a teamwork. They will all sit, okay, how many features, what will come first, what will come second, how many hours must I spend, what are the priorities. They will use MVP here, they will use Moscow technique here, and they will identify and prioritize the product backlog. And please understand, guys, very important note, a product backlog is never finalized. Okay, product backlog, all change requests will go back to product backlog only. It will not get into the sprints ever. It will go to the product backlog and then it will come to the sprints eventually. So once the product backlog has been created, okay, then they want to talk about sprints now. Guys, whenever we want to talk about the sprint, the first meeting that happens for the sprint here is called as a sprint planning meeting. In this planning meeting, the Scrum Master will facilitate this meeting where he will sit and discuss what is the velocity of the team. Now, what is the velocity? How many people can spend how many hours? Not every team member can spend 8 hours on this project. Probably they have other projects also. So they will create the velocity of the sprint. Which team members will work? How many hours should they work? How many user stories must they work on? What is the duration of the sprint? All that kind of important decisions are taken in the sprint planning meeting. Once that is happening, then the sprint will begin. Guys, if you're getting confused, let me know. The sprint will begin. Once the sprint
already
has
discussion
started, I'm sorry. Guys, please mute yourself if you're not talking to me.
Huh?
Okay, the sprint will begin. Once the sprint has started, you will have another meeting that is called as a daily stand-up meeting. Now, what do you mean by daily stand-up meeting is here. In this meeting, you will discuss about what happened today, what you have done yesterday and tomorrow. Every day it will happen all across the project duration. Okay, once the sprint have began. Okay, so now when you're talking about sprints, as I told you, what happens inside a sprint, what is there inside a sprint? User stories. Okay, so now when you're talking about user stories, you have a user story board. It is called as a user story board. So that has, I'll show you in Jira what that means. User story board may, you will put all the user stories there, guys. So once the sprint is happening, at the end of the sprint, you have a sprint review meeting. In that review meeting, you will discuss what went right and what went wrong in this specific sprint, what are the lessons learned, and so on and so forth. Once it is over, at the last, you have the last meeting that is called as a retrospective meeting. In a retrospective meeting, you will sit and discuss, okay, what lessons I have learned that I can use for the next coming sprints. Okay, are there any user stories that are left out that you can't do it in this sprint? Should I move it to next sprint? And all such discussions will happen for the future sprints. Please understand the major differences. In review meeting, the concentration is on the sprint that is completed. In retrospective meeting, the concentration is more on the future sprints that will going to happen in the next coming releases. Are we all clear, guys? So once the meeting
can you
happen,
just show the earlier page? So that
which one?
Earlier page.
Earlier page.
Yeah, from project product identification.
Yeah.
I just wanted to take a.
No, you can get it in the recording, sir. You don't have to take a picture and all. You will get it as a part of the recording anyways.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Once your retrospective meeting has been completed, which means the sprint has been completed. Now you will have to generate the reports. Okay, and then the next sprints and so on and so forth things will move on. So as you complete your sprints, you will put it and you will give it to the client for his testing. Are we clear with what we have done so far, guys? With what is the process of the whole Scrum?
Yes, ma'am. Definitely.
Yeah, you are able to
Yes,
connect the
ma'am.
link. Now let's get into the tool. Now let's do all this in Jira. Okay, so guys, now first and foremost, before I get into the tool, first let me give you a background about Jira. So guys, basically Jira is nothing but a project management tool. Okay, so the main purpose of Jira is to handle Agile. Earlier, Jira was introduced to handle only the bug tracking. So whatever bugs or your issues that you have or impediments that are there in a project, you will note them down in Jira and you will track that who is doing what is the progress on the ticket, what is the progress on that bug. That kind of tracking is done using Jira. But now Jira has progressed very well, guys, and now the whole project management happens in Jira now. The whole Agile, whatever Scrum project I was talking about, everything is done in Jira. Clear, guys? Okay, so now let's go and open Jira. First and foremost, before I get into Jira, guys, please understand, Jira is an open source tool. Now, what does that mean? You do not need any administrator's help or any admin's help to install Jira into your computer. Okay, you do not need any kind of technical requirements or specifications in your computer to install Jira. It's an open source tool. It is available in your Google. Just go there and you can install Jira. Okay, guys. So let me show you how you can install that. So guys, what you do is you can just go to Google and you can say Jira software download. So guys, so basically, please understand, Jira is handled by Atlassian. Atlassian is the Canadian company that is the owner of this software called as Jira. And Atlassian has multiple such softwares apart from Jira. From our Scrum perspective, this is a very important tool. So please understand, you'll go to atlassian.com, just select there, click there, and you can you see my screen, guys?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, we can.
You will have to go to get it free. Okay, and this is where you will start working on. So guys, basically when you're talking about Jira software, there are two elements to it. One is called as Confluence, that only talks about document collaboration. If you have any release notes or any product requirement, any documentation that is handled in Confluence, it does not support the process. Okay, it only saves and has the documents in Confluence. However, in Jira service management, it is nothing but the process that happens here in the Jira. Clear, guys? So eventually, what should I select? I should select Jira service management. Okay, and I'll go to next. You can get started. You can either sign up using an email or through a Google, your wish. I'm just taking your Gmail account. I will take my work email. So guys, because I already have an existing, I just have to log in. So you can create your work email full name and you will start working on it, guys. You don't need to do any, it's a free. Clear so far, guys?
Yes, madam.
Yes, so would you be able to take this forward or do you want me to go to create this for you?
Go to login.
No, ma'am, it's a very simple process.
Yeah.
It's a very
Yeah,
simple
it's very simple, exactly. So I will go to login for now. Okay, guys. So I will go to BA Mentor 05 and it's already connected for me. So guys, here, once you have your work email registered, what will I do? I will just give my name to it. For example, I would say coapd.atlassian.net. That is my site account name. I will say agree.
Ma'am, through the Gmail account also we can log in, no?
Yes, Gmail account only, because I have a work email. I'm not using my personal Gmail account, but you will have to use your personal email.
Yeah, got it, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, one question.
Yes, please.
Jira service management in that site itself, it was showing as a cloud free. What does that mean? Actually, cloud free.
Cloud is nothing but a repository, sir. So cloud is nothing but where you save your content.
Okay, so it is a cloud free software.
The reason being because it is not a paid version. There is no save. You can't save your work.
Okay.
But once
I
you
got it.
purchase it outside, you will be able to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hello?
Just a minute. Just a second.
Yeah.
Okay. So guys, I'm just doing it here.
Madam, it asks long-term support release and the latest release. There was that information.
Sorry, you saying? Are you talking to me?
Login, long-term, yes. Long-term support release or latest release, Jira.
Jira was a very old tool. I won't disagree. But again, here, the companies currently are using Jira for the whole project management is very new. Earlier, bug tracking ke liye, they were using it very exclusively. Okay. So guys, if you all can see here, so I have used my username and the password, and I've also created that account, work account, and it says at less than 1 moment your site is opening up. So what, see here, it's loading, guys. Okay. We'll just have to wait for a few seconds.
Madhura, can you please mute yourself?
Okay, guys, can you all see my screen?
Ma'am, please mute everyone.
Okay, so guys, here, if you look at my screen here, guys, once the Jira has been uploaded, so what Atlassian is saying is that you can help us set the Jira software. Generally, because we are learning it, we are doing it, but for now, in organizations, it is already done by the administrator. We don't have to get here. Just for our understanding, I'm doing it. I am new to Jira. My team is experienced with Agile. We spend work on features. I have a tight schedule. If you don't have this data, I would say skip. It is only helping me set up the Jira software. And if you're unaware of any of the answer, please skip. It is very optional in nature. So guys, now please see here. It's a very, very important page. Please pay attention. Now I have to create a project. In reality, may I know who creates the project?
Product owner.
Project manager.
Project manager, project owner.
Yeah, product owner.
Or a Scrum Master. So this is not done. Now for our practice, please do this, guys. Now, guys, see this, a template. What template is here? We have Kanban. But what am I looking at? I want Scrum. You agree? So what will I do? I will use Scrum. Guys, please mute if you're not talking. So guys, did you understand how did I do this? So what did I do? I'll again go back. So automatically there was Kanban here.
So, ma'am, one question.
Yes, please.
So we know where we should take this Scrum, but when we should take the Kanban, or it should not be taken.
That depends by the organization, ma'am. It's not our decision.
Okay.
It is finalized by the company and the client, because client should also be comfortable here, right? The client feels Scrum is the right answer for his project, he would take up Scrum.
Okay.
Then sorry if because I had to go back to explain you, it went back to my home screen. I'm again uploading it. Okay.
That's okay, madam. It is a revision for us.
Yeah. Yes.
So, ma'am, in Kanban, we have the options as Scrum. Similarly we have in Kanban.
Yes, ma'am. It's very similar. Only there are few changes here and there. The way you write, the way you see this, that's only the change.
Okay. Thank you.
Ma'am, can we change, for example, from Scrum to Kanban, or what? Can we
Once you
change it?
create a project, you should not change it to Scrum and Kanban, because you've already created the features there. The decision should be taken once you're creating the project.
So I was actually simultaneously processing with you, और मैंने वो गलती से जो है ना Kanban वही select किया था.
That changes you can make for sure. You can edit, no problem.
But how to do it? Because I
that is
came
what
to the.
See, what I can do is I'll show that. Don't worry. So guys, do you see this? I have Kanban here. Okay, but I do not want Kanban. I want other templates. So what will I do? I will click on more templates. I can directly go to Scrum. I will select Scrum. So please understand, the template that you're using must be Scrum. It's very, very important. Check that. Okay, so I have taken Scrum and my project name is Swiggy. Okay, my project name is Swiggy Food Application or something. I'm just taking for our understanding. That's it, guys. So it says how it will show that in your screen. It is just giving you a design as to where it will be shown. It is shown here, the Swiggy Food Application. Clear, guys? I will create. That's it. Now I have created a project in Scrum. Guys, these are some of the tools that Atlassian is offering. It is only for advertisement sake. I will skip this as well. Now, where are we? This is called as your project board. So this has all the information that you must know about your project. Everything about project. Okay, so if you look at here, I am at Jira. Okay. I am a Swiggy software application software project. And if you want, this is nothing but your Jira software, all that you want to take. And sorry, as someone said, if you want to change your thing, just go here and you can select your whatever you want. Okay, but that was not recommended. You can again go back and recreate another application, but don't change once you are done here. Be very careful there. Okay, now guys, here it talks about your work. What does that mean? What all projects are assigned to you, all that will be shown here. All the recent projects that you have worked on or tasks that you have worked on. What kind of boards are you handling? Boards for me is a project. Okay, as I told you, project board in Jira, it is called as a board. Is any dependency that you have? All about you. Sangeeta's work is shown here. Clear, guys? Now, what all projects are you handling? Guys, I've already told you earlier. In Agile or Scrum, generally, we don't work on one exclusive project. We have multiple projects that parallelly run in an organization. There would be chances where you could work in more than 2 or 3 projects parallelly. Okay, so here you will know what all projects you're working on. That's very important to understand if you are in the right project. Okay, once that's done, then you have any filters that you want to put for your projects, who should see, what to see, any specific search that you have, you can add here. Now, guys, can anybody tell me what is a dashboard?
Ma'am, screen is not visible.
My screen is not visible?
No, it's
Visible.
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 So guys, what's a dashboard? Dashboard is nothing but a pictorial representation of your work. Tomorrow, let's assume you want to show your work to the project manager or to CFO, CEO. Okay, so what do? Instead of just showing numbers and columns and rows, you put everything in a pictorial representation, more like a graph, wherein you have a graph, a pie chart and stuff like that. Then you put a dashboard and you can show that. Okay, which all people are involved here? Which all people are involved here? They will come. And if you have any applications, guys, just give me a minute. 1 second. Sorry to interrupt. Okay, guys. So you will create this project and so on and so forth. You can also create a new, from here also you can create the same story. I will not tell you what is an issue right now, but you can also create something from here. Clear? Now, guys, this is an application I'm talking about. What is a roadmap? It is nothing but a Gantt chart or a progress report of your project. So this talks about where are you, what are you doing in the project, which sprints you're working on. You can do it per day, you can do it per week, you can do it per month, or even for the quarter. Nothing but a progress report of what is happening in the project. So what is advantage? Guys, in waterfall, what happened is only project manager had an access to this report. Only project manager was looking at what is happening in the project, like progress of the project. But major advantage in Scrum is every team member can know what is happening, where is the project right now, by just going to this roadmap. This is automatically updated in Jira, and this is handled by the Scrum team. Okay, next, what is a
every team member can edit the
view? Yeah, every team member can see this roadmap.
What about editing? Every team member can
editing. You don't edit, it is automatically done. If you edit something here, it is automatically come down there. You don't go and edit in the roadmap, because it is nothing but you do something here, it reflects there. So if you do edit in the roadmap, it might not reflect back in your backlog.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So guys, now I'm coming to the backlog. This is nothing but the product backlog I was talking about, guys. Okay. So this is where you will put your user stories. Now let's spend some time here. So guys, please understand, here in your product backlog, you already have SFA, Swiggy food application, a shortcut of Swiggy food application that is automatically generated by Jira. There is a sprint one. Okay. So here we have backlogs, we have sprints. First and foremost, whenever you come to this product backlog, I told you, right, directly never put any user stories into the sprint, guys. First put it in your product backlog, then you should put it back to the sprint. Okay. First and foremost, let's create a product backlog. Please remember, in Jira, anything that you do in Jira is called as a Amit, I have recorded the session. Amit, you can, once the session is over, I'll tell you where you can see the recording and everything. Okay. So first and foremost, guys, please understand, in Jira, everything, an epic is an issue, a user story can be an issue. Anything that you create here is called as an issue. So you can create an issue from here. You can create an issue from here as well. Okay. So you can create it from wherever you want. So here I will first create one issue. See, as a customer, I want to register so that I can log in into the application. As a restaurant owner, I want to register so that I can log in into the application As a user, I want to so that I can. Guys, you know this concept. As a user, I want to so that I can. Clear, guys? As a customer.
Ma'am, here I have a question, ma'am.
Sure,
like
sure.
usually we create an epic or otherwise we directly create a user stories in the backlog.
You will create a user stories only, ma'am. I told you, epics are optional.
Okay, so I thought like first we create the epic and in epics we create the user stories.
That is a recommended approach, but not every company might have that. I told you, right? So let's assume there is only one feature. Like for example, I only have a customer login into my application. There is no other login. Why should I create an epic? I can directly say a user story and start working. No.
Okay, directly we go to the backlog, we create user stories and
yeah, exactly. If there are no epics, we can directly work on user stories. There's no compulsory that you have to create a epic.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, sure. As manager, I want to log in so that I can view the monthly reports. As a customer, I want to do payment so that my order is finalized and completed. Guys, are you able to understand? I'm not using login every time. So please don't be in the same thing. You can change the user stories as ever you want. And these sentences are called as value statements or syntax, guys. And please understand, very important role. Unless and until you have 3 user stories, you cannot start a sprint. Unless and until you don't have 3 user stories minimum, you cannot start a sprint. And in reality, one sprint can have 500, 600, even 1000 user stories also. Okay, clear so far, guys? Story 6, user story 7, user story 8, user story 9, and user story 10. So I have created 10 user stories, guys, for our understanding. So please understand, everything are in to do only. Nothing has been started yet. I'm just creating the user story. And where are these user stories sitting? In the product backlog. So now all the meetings will happen, all the discussions will happen. Then we will start working on the sprint. Simple. In Jira, what will I do? I will just have to throw it in a sprint. Guys, I'll just have to drag and drop. That's it. I'm dragging and dropping. I am dragging and dropping. I've created sprint number 1. I can also create more issues here, but that is not recommended. I have to create a backlog only, then I can put it in the sprint. It is not recommended to create user stories directly in the sprint. Okay, guys, clear so far now? What did I do? I have created 3 user stories. So what will I do? I will start the sprint because I have 3, right? I will start. So guys, you can also rename the sprint. I will rename the sprint. Okay, if I want to, or else I can leave it like this. Now, duration. Guys, we have to put duration. As I told you earlier, you can have a 1 week sprint, you can have 2 week sprints, you can have 3 week sprints, you can have custom related sprint. So guys, if I click 1 week, if you see, the end date has stopped. End date has grayed out because it will automatically take the end date. Okay. See, 16, 17, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 20. From 16 to 23rd. So because I've taken it as 12, it's taking us 7 days. Okay, guys, it should end by 23rd, 12 o'clock. Now,
what if it does not get completed in that particular period of
then
time?
what happens if it does not get completed? Then we'll have a review meeting, then we'll have a retrospective meeting. Those incomplete sprints will be pulled back into the product backlog and they will be added to the next sprint.
Okay, got it.
Okay, yeah, okay, guys. So if I say custom, what happens is you have to manually type the start date and the end date. Okay, guys, and you can also have a sprint goal. Now, what is your goal? For example, as a team, we want to complete the feature of registration and the client should be able to test it. That is my goal. That is my goal. Okay, guys.
Ma'am, here, where is the priority of user story mentioned?
I'm sorry?
Priority of your user story.
That is handled in a backlog, ma'am. The priority of user story is handled in the backlog only. This is where we will prioritize the user stories.
Okay.
Yeah.
Basically, we have to drag and drop to the sprint area. No?
To the sprint, yes. From the
To
backlog, you will
prioritize.
drag and drop the user stories to the sprints. So how many ever user stories you prepare, you create. So for example, see, I have a sprint 1, right? The sprint 2 has not been created yet because it is still there, right? So now once I say start sprint, it will directly get me to the, guys, this is called the user story board. Okay, if you look at it, all the user stories are there in the to do. Okay, then everything are sitting in the to do area. So as the user stories have been completed, it will be sent to in progress and into the done. Clear so far, guys? Any questions so far?
Once the task is completed, we have to manually drag to in progress in done.
Yes. If I will tell you that also how you do that. So guys, so if you look at it, I have only written the value statement of the user story. I haven't written anything inside yet. So what can I do? I will double click on it. I will open my user story. Okay, so what can I do? Point number 1, if I want to connect it to an epic, I will select this and I can create one epic. So guys, now see here, let me show you. If you see here, can you see this epic here? I can also create one epic. Like for example, registration can be an epic. Login can be an epic. Payment can be an epic or anything else. I have created 2 few epics. So now I will go back to the board and I will add one epic here.
Ma'am, could you please show again how did you create the epic?
See here, I will go to the backlog. I will go to this epic option here. I will activate this epic panel. So you will see this here, left side.
Okay.
I will go and select the epics. Okay. So if you look at it, I have put this registration. See this. This is a user story that is connected to registration. Okay.